My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my ranking of the Superman movies from worst to best. And this video will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But I'm not the biggest Superman fan. Like, he's a fine character, but I actually think that Invincible is a very similar but much more compelling character. So he's alright. Let's just begin with the worst Superman movie, and it's also the worst comic book movie I have ever seen, and it's The Quest for Peace. Now, I watched this movie just a few months ago, and I already forgot everything about it, except for the fact that I was bored out of my mind. It was a 90-minute movie that felt like 3 hours, and it just drags, and it's never entertaining, it's never interesting, it's never tense, it's never funny. It's just an instantly forgettable, abysmal piece of shit. The second worst Superman movie is, and I debated even including these movies, but let's go with it, and it's Justice League 2017. Now, this movie was originally directed by Zack Snyder, then it got reshot and put together by Josh Whedon, and these are two very good directors, but it does feel like a giant mishmash of their styles, and it doesn't go well together. This movie is just an absolute nightmare on a tonal level, and I just think the story is a mess. It feels generic, it feels bland, and there's no reason to watch this movie when there's a much better version of this same movie that exists. So I despise it. It's the second worst. The third worst Superman movie is Superman 3. Now, I did like the scene where Vera turned into a cyborg, and I do like the scene where Superman fixes the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but that's where my positives end. This movie is bland, it's boring, it's instantly forgettable. I despise it. It's the third worst. The fourth worst is going to be the hottest take on this list, and it's Superman the movie. Now, the music is iconic, and I can appreciate the importance of this movie, but watching it for the first time in 2025, it just does nothing for me. It is way too long, and I don't think it does anything well. I never cared about Superman and Lois. I never cared about Jonathan and Martha Kent. It's so long, and yet it's still lacking. And I never really care for the character of Superman here, and it just feels so dated. I don't like this movie at all, so that's why it's all the way down here. The fifth worst Superman movie is Superman 2. Now, I can appreciate certain ideas it's going for, and it is an improvement, but it's still a mess. Once again, it's just so dated. It's not dated in a charming way. It's dated in a way that makes it very difficult to watch, but the story is so poorly told here. Like, it takes Superman over an hour to lose his powers, and then he gets them back like that. It kind of reminds me of Santa Claus 3, where Santa Claus loses his powers and then he gets it back like that. So much build-up and it goes nowhere, and there are some good ideas, but it doesn't feel fully explored, so that's why it's number 6. The sixth worst Superman So, well, whatever. Movie number 5 is Man of Steel, which is another hot take because people love this movie. And I do get it. The opening is great. There is a vision on display, and Hans Zimmer's score is phenomenal. But Jonathan Kent's death is the stupidest moment ever. And it pisses me off every time. I get what it's trying to say, it's just not on my wavelength. I also found the destruction to be way too much, and I just feel like this movie's kind of lacking. Like, it just feels very choppy, it's not particularly effective. Some good ideas, some great moments, but it's not one I ever really feel the need to go back to. The fourth best one, and now we're talking about the ones I like, and it's the brand new Superman. And, okay, I'm probably going to talk about this movie for a bit, because, like I said, spoilers. I'll begin with Ultraman, because Ultraman is in the very beginning of this movie, and then Lex has to go to the Fortress of Solitude to find a way to get people to hate Superman. And then it turns out at the end, Ultraman is a clone. So why didn't you just get Ultraman to do bad things and frame Superman? Like, it seems so obvious. Then we also get this plot where I'll begin talking about the nation attacking the other country or whatever. I didn't like this at all. It serves as a good inciting incident about Superman's willingness to do good and to help people, but he's kind of restricted by all laws and who he represents, whether he wants to or not. My issue is we don't see this inciting incident, so you don't really feel the impact of it. And I don't like how the movie skipped over so much. Like, okay, there's a TV show called The Bear. People love it. I watched season 1 and didn't like it at all. And a big reason why is because it's about trauma and death, but it just feels like background noise for the character. It doesn't feel like an actual exploration of those emotions. But then we get something like Arcane. Well, it starts off, it introduces the characters, and then we see what traumatizes the characters and what sets their path forward. And then we see the follow-up. So this movie would have been like if Arcane started on episode 4. We're missing a good chunk at the start, and I feel like it was an important chunk to include. Also, I kind of wish it just was the inciting incident. We didn't need the whole conflict later on. It just got lost in all the noise, and I was never invested in it. And I found it to be a real wasted opportunity that when Superman is in space getting attacked, that he didn't go down there and save the kid. I feel like that could have been a cool moment, but they didn't do that. And then we get the plot with Superman's family video, and I hated this. It felt really choppily introduced, and once again, it feels like we're missing a big chunk of the beginning of this movie. And I never really felt like Superman was motivated by his parents. He says he is, I just never felt it, and that's what happens when you skip so far ahead. You're missing clear foundations for the story. And then it turns out there's more to the message, and I'm okay with this getting added to the mythology of Krypton here. I just found it to be really ineffective. Like, I never really saw that people loved Superman, so when people turned on him, it just felt like they turned on him because the script said so. And I found it to be a rather empty plot, and I do like the note it ends on where he's watching the videos of his time growing up with Jonathan and Martha Kent, but we don't really see enough of those characters for them to have any sort of impact. So there's good ideas here, but they skipped out on so much shit, and it frustrated me to no end. I liked Clark. I liked Clark and Lois's romance, but it felt like an afterthought. And there's just too much going on and not enough is getting developed, and James Gunn is a good director, but I feel like he's getting really repetitive. There's a scene with Mr. Terrific, which is a good moment, but it just reminded me of the Come a Little Bit Closer scene from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. There was a scene where Superman goes to space, and it reminded me of Star-Lord giving Gamora his mask in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And I just feel like he's becoming very one-note, and I'm concerned about the future of this universe. I also thought the movie lacked any bit of emotion, and everything just felt so empty. Like, there's no weight. And some of the visuals are really bad. Which is so weird, because some of the visuals are really great. Metamorpho looks fantastic. But then you see his kid, and you're like, oh, what's that abomination? And then Superman gets stuck in the Proton River, and I get it's going for that blocky feel. It looked like a CGI disaster. Some of the dialogue was pretty bad at times, and I felt like the ending was too easy. Like in the interview scene with Clark and Lois, Clark is like, I am correct. And the movie kind of ends with him being correct. So, and it felt so thematically empty. Like, there's potential here for this movie to be about heritage and legacy and the importance of being kind, but I don't really think it comes through. Like, if you want a movie that explores those ideas, watch K-pop Demon Hunters. Here, I just felt like it was empty. But, that said, I was still entertained. It's a light, colorful movie. You can watch it and turn off your brain. Some of the humor really did work for me, except for Krypto. That him saving Superman and him beating someone up really aggressively got really overdone. But I do like the scene with the monkeys typing on the internet, or when Superman is talking to Lois as there's that big intergalactic fight behind him. And I did like David Cohen's threat. I just wish he had more to do. Rachel Brosnahan is good, but I wish he had more to do. I did like Jimmy Olsen. I felt like his subplot was actually pretty funny, and I enjoyed it. What else? Oh, the best part of the movie, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. He is so punchable and so hateable, and I thought he was great. So, it has... Oh, and the interview scene is peak. Like, best scene of the movie, and it's not even close. So I enjoyed it, I had fun, but it's a heavily flawed movie. The third best one is Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the big issue is this movie is 4 hours long. I don't see myself rewatching it often, but that said, it's a much better version of this story. The characters have more depth, and Zack Snyder's style just enhances it in every way. It is a truly beautifully crafted movie with some terrific visuals. It's ambitious. I as someone who grew up watching the cartoons, the last hour of this movie is a dream come true. It definitely has pacing issues. It's definitely too much, but there is so much to love here, so that's why it's number 3. Number 2 is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. And the thing is, I've never seen the Ultimate Cut. I hear it's better, but I really like the theatrical cut. Now, the last act, it does fall apart. The Justice League build-up is distracting, and Doomsday sucks. But everything else in this movie is incredible. The conflict between Batman and Superman is so damn compelling. Visually, it is incredible at times, and there's just so much substance present. And I also love Ben Affleck as Batman. That whalehouse action scene is so good. Henry Cavill does a good job here, but it's Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor who steals the show. He really delivers as this character, and I just think it's not what you would expect from the second movie in this universe, but I appreciate its ambition, and the opening scene is incredible. So I love so much of this movie. I wish it stuck the landing, but it's still number 2. And number 1, I feel like it's a hot take, but it's Superman Returns. Like, I was surprised at how much I loved this movie. Now, it's very long, and it's a very slow movie, but I felt like that was appropriate for this story. It was patient, and it was effective, and it had a lot to explore about Superman, this super powerful being. He comes to Earth, he makes a difference, he leaves, and he comes back, and everyone has moved on. And how that affects his relationship with Lois, how that affects his relationship with mankind. And I truly think there was plenty here thematically. Brandon Routh, Kevin Spacey, Kate Beckinsale, James Marsden all do a very good job. And it's the last hour of this movie that elevates it, because I found it to be truly moving. I found it to be powerful. This guy just willing to sacrifice himself to save everyone, and it hit me in the feels. The emotions shine through, and I think it's a beautifully crafted movie by Bryan Singer. That airplane scene is terrific, and even though it's not action heavy, the earthquakes and stuff look great, and the visuals are outstanding. That one scene of Superman getting his ass kicked is a tough watch, and I really do think this movie doesn't get the credit it deserves. It just fully delivers for me, and I think it's, the best Superman movie, and hopefully it gets released on 4K one day. Oh, and I also love how silly it can get. Like, Kryptonite Land, like, it's funny, but they still made it work. So, I love this movie, that's why it's number 1. But, what's your ranking of the Superman movies? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin, out.